Hello guys, so today is the 9th day of the Chinese New Year. I'm currently in the countryside at my grandmom's place. It's about time for me to head back to Beijing, but before I do, I'm going to make a few stops along the way to do a bit of traveling. And today I'm going to Nanchang, which is quite close to my hometown. I'm doing this lifestyle trip with my mom, and after that I'm traveling alone to two cities in Henan province, which is in central China. I'm very excited about the trip, so let's go! We have arrived. Okay, we've checked in. Let's go to the room. So we ordered lunch. So this is local specialty rice noodles. Jiangxi is known for like having really spicy food. 会挺辣的吧？
味道蛮好，看着好像蛮好吃的。
还不错。Nanchang mixed rice noodles are made by mixing boiled rice noodles with all kinds of sauces and ingredients such as garlic, chopped green and chili pepper, and peanuts. This is really delicious. Finished. Okay, so I did a bit of work and it's 4 p.m. We're finally heading out to do some sightseeing. Let's go. 这路还挺不平的哦。这个你们叫什么饼？烧饼。烧饼。看来全国各地都有烧饼，但全国各地的烧饼各不一样。
形状也不一样。
就是一些肉，但比我们那烤饼厚一点，外面。 So we're now at the Bai Square, which is the second largest city square in China, after Tiananmen Square in Beijing. I think people just come here for a walk and take photos. There are also people flying kites here. And then this square is surrounded by several shopping malls. Okay, so that's pretty much you can see at the Bai Square, which, you know, there isn't too much going on here. But I think people mostly come here because the historical significance of this place. This place was built in memory of Nanchang uprising, which took place in 1927. So at the time, communist and pro-communist groups started an uprising against the then nationalist government. The day of uprising was also marked as the birth of People's Liberation Army. So that's pretty much all the sightseeing we get at the Bai Square. Next we're going to Zhengzhou Palace. This used to be my favorite snack in childhood. We only got one left. It's so tasty. It's made of glutinous rice, so super soft. I mean, essentially it's a touristy and commercial area with lots of tourists, lots of food, little gadgets, souvenirs, and drinks. In fact, during the Ming and Qing dynasties, this area was one of the three major commercial hubs south of the Yangtze River. Its strategic location near a major branch of the Yangtze River contributed significantly to its prosperity. The region became bustling with merchants and abundant goods. As commerce flourished, residential communities gradually emerged, adding further vitality to the area. The current-day Zhengzhou Palace block went through major renovations for several years and has been open to the public since 2021. And this is the Zhengzhou Palace. Our visit to the Zhengzhou Palace itself coincided with a free tour. The guide told us that there were over 1,000 Zhengzhou palaces all over China, but this one in Nanchang serves as the headquarters. The Wanshou Palace is a Taoist temple dedicated to one of the four celestial masters, Xu Xun. Xu Xun was born in Nanchang and lived during the Jin dynasty in the 4th century. As a government official, he was known for his honesty, compassion for the people, and diligent work ethic. Amidst a time of great chaos, he resigned from his official position and chose a life of seclusion, where he practiced Taoism and alchemy, guiding his disciples in understanding the true essence of filial piety. He lived to the age of 136, ultimately ascending to heaven and becoming immortal. The guide also explained that, unlike in Buddhism, where devotees pray by burning incense, in Taoism, people express their wishes by writing them on cards. This Wanshou Palace was first built in the 4th century and renovated in recent years, along with the area around it.
我妈来评价一下这道普普通通的菜，看却做的不普通。
吃起来呢，就是咸的，入味，就比较脆绿，爽口，很好吃。
It's a local specialty. It's sweet. Quite super soft. I think it's like deep fried dough. And the chewy inside.
它是糯米吧？它叫塔吧？
对，好像是里面是糯米。
糯金鸡啊，它这个还蛮好吃。
This is also a local specialty, stir-fried pork and green pepper. This goes really well with rice. 好像里面很辣，
辣，这个要辣的。
Okay, so we finished dinner. We're gonna go back to hotel now because we want to rest early. So for breakfast, I pretty much ordered the same thing as lunch yesterday. The rice noodles, clay pot soup.
还行。
Clay pot soup is another famous Jiangxi cuisine. It's made by arranging jars of soup in a giant clay pot, simmering with burning coal at the bottom of the clay pot for over 8 hours. Inside each jar, there is usually duck, pork, chicken, or meat pie seasoned with traditional Chinese herbs, so the soup tastes super rich and smells really fragrant. After breakfast, we went out to start our second day of sightseeing in Nanchang. We first went to Nanchang Uprising Memorial Hall, but because it was holiday season, it was fully booked.
Okay, so in that case, we're just going to our next stop, the Pavilion of Princeton. I have arrived at the Pavilion of Princeton. So this pavilion was first built in the 7th century by Princeton, who was a son of the emperor. At the time, intellects would come here to compose prose and poetry, and a poet called Wang Bo came and made a poem about the pavilion, and it was so well written. It got the pavilion really famous, but the present-day pavilion was actually built in 1980s. This actually is not an old building. It's new. It's kind of new. We're going up.
Inside the pavilion, there are exhibitions of paintings, porcelain, and costumes for Queen Opera. There is also animation of how the pavilion was built. The present-day pavilion was built in the 1980s according to the design of very famous Chinese architect Liang Sicheng, and it was the 29th time the pavilion was rebuilt in history. Its architectural style is consistent with that of Song Dynasty. The decorations inside are also gorgeous. As you ascend to the higher floors and step outside, you'll be greeted by views of tall buildings across the Gan River and the Bai Bridge connecting both sides of the river.
我要是买一块来，就是从赵到成人太虚。
lunch now. It's an absolute pain to find a restaurant during busy season because you always have to pull up. But luckily we found this restaurant that has good review and not too busy. Okay, let's try. Pretty good. 没有说挺好吃的。A lot of shared e-bikes in Nanchang instead of shared bikes. We booked tickets to the museum, but I think it's gonna be super busy, and then we only got 3 or 4 hours left. So we're just gonna take it easy and walk around and see the busy area of the city. So that is Twin Tower. We're inside a shopping mall, just walking around with mom. 去华为看一看。
外形很好看哦。哦，直接可以就是跟那个电脑。
智能眼镜，然后它这里应该是会放声音的吧？就这里，它可以给你播报东西，还挺酷的。There's literally millions of types of food here, so we're kind of running out of places to see. We have 1 more hour left.
只要你和妈妈在一块，哪里不是惯了？
说得好。So that was the last bit of our last day in Nanchang. Even though there wasn't too much to see, as mom said, it was more about us spending time together, so it really didn't matter how exciting the place it went to were. Going back to the hotel to get our luggage. That's a lot of people. Okay, my mom has checked in for her train. She's going back home tonight. But I'm going up north to Zhengzhou. I've changed my plan. I was gonna travel to 2 cities in the Henan province, but now I've decided to only go to one before going back to Beijing. Otherwise, I think it's just too much trouble going to too many places. But my train isn't until after 4 hours, so I'm gonna find a place to do a bit of work. So I'm finally leaving. In Zhengzhou is very cold. So I'm at the subway station. I'm gonna take one stop to get breakfast first, and then I'm heading to the hotel to drop my luggage. A very modern and new subway station. Okay, so that's the place I'm having breakfast at. I got the recommendation from social media, so let's check it out. So essentially it's a very thick soup. with lots of ingredients inside. Beef, goat ear, and others are canoning. A lot of sauces inside as well. This part is on the outside, and inside is red rice noodles. Okay, I just realized something quite funny. I actually came all the way here for that place, but I got it wrong. So I ended up eating at this place across the street, which to be honest was pretty decent as well, I think, in terms of what I had. Okay, so my first stop in Zhengzhou is Henan Museum. Zhengzhou is the capital city of Henan province. I'm sure there will be so much to see in the museum because Henan is a place with rich history. It hosts 4 of the historical capitals of China and is home to many historical sites. So let's check out the museum. In the history of ancient China, dating back to the Shang dynasty in the 7th century BC, the Henan region was one of the most prosperous areas in the country. Cities such as Luoyang, Kaifeng, and Zhengzhou served as capitals for various kingdoms and dynasties. As a result, some of the oldest cultural relics were discovered in this region, revealing stories of China from thousands of years ago. Among the significant artifacts showcased in the exhibitions are bronze vessels, which were primarily used in religious and ceremonial rituals as well as for storing food and drink. The vessels represented a system of status and hierarchy, as only individuals of high rank were permitted to use them in ancient China. With its political significance, the Henan region's economy thrived, particularly before the 14th century, becoming a major production center for paper, textiles, and porcelain. This economic prosperity contributed to a flourishing culture, resulting in advancements in arts and religion. So I just finished the tour at the museum. My next stop is Arqi Guangzhou. So, Arqi Guangzhou is just an area for shopping and eating. I mean, it's not too spectacular, to be honest. I feel like it's not worth it, but you know, if you have time, feel free to take a walk here and see what's about. But otherwise, I think it's perfectly fine to skip. I ordered some cold dishes which taste delicious. They were mixed with sesame sauce but also tasted a bit sour and spicy. Henan is famous for hui mian, which is hand-pulled noodles and has a chewy, resilient texture. It is typically served in a rich broth simmered with lamb, garlic, and other spices. After dinner, I decided to check out another landmark in Zhengzhou, the 280-meter-tall corn tower in the CBD area, which draws design inspiration from the Shaolin Temple near Zhengzhou. This is a hotel located next to the Henan Art Center and close to the International Exhibition Center. However, if you've seen enough skyscrapers in Shanghai and Beijing, this may not impress you as much. I'm back at the hotel now. Somehow I feel a bit tired today, probably because I didn't sleep too well last night. So I'm gonna have a relatively early night, and then tomorrow I may visit 1 or 2 more places. There isn't too much to see, to be honest, in Zhengzhou. And I'm heading back to Beijing tomorrow night. Okay, bye! Morning! My last day in Zhengzhou. Now I'm heading to a place called Zhengzhou. I think it's similar to Shougang Park in Beijing, where they turned an old factory into a cultural thing for exhibitions and stuff. So let's go. On my way to the subway station, I saw food stalls lining both sides of the street, selling traditional pastries, cakes, and other local snacks. People were queuing for yuanxiao, a traditional Chinese dessert enjoyed during the Lantern Festival. I also spotted small sticks of bintang hulu, which only cost 1 yuan each and were quite tasty. I also realized how close I was to Aoqi Square, which I had visited the day before. It was just a 15-minute walk from a hotel.
So we have arrived at Zhengzhou.
This area was transformed from an oleochemical factory that operated for over half a century, from the 1950s until 2006. Built with the assistance of the Soviet Union, the architecture reflects the Soviet style.
I'm not sure if they purposefully make this look this way or are they actually garbage.
The park features an exhibition room showcasing Zhengzhou's modern history, along with equipment from the old oleochem factory, which produced some of the most well-known soap brands in China at the time. As it turned out, there wasn't any art exhibition in the park. However, there's a vibrant market for cultural and creative products, as well as a variety of food and drinks.
Okay, I'm going to my last stop in Zhengzhou. It's another museum. It's a museum for historical site in Zhengzhou, as it was the capital of some of the most ancient kingdoms in China. So this one dates back to, I think, 1600 BC or so. So let's check it out.
I was really lucky to join a tour when I first arrived at the museum. What I find fascinating is that the area once occupied by the capital of the Shang dynasty is still part of the city center of Zhengzhou today. This means there has been human activity in this area for over 3,600 years. Moreover, the layout of the Shang capital influenced the urban planning traditions of ancient China, where the royal palace was situated at the center with an axis extending across the city. The remnants of the old city walls found in contemporary Zhengzhou also testify to the city's long history, as archaeologists have uncovered the evolving structure of these walls throughout different dynasties. I must say, I really enjoyed the guide's explanation about local history and artifacts. She was incredibly patient and engaging.
I mean, all these kites are flying really far.
I'll definitely need to add spicy sauce.
It's alright. I think it's the same issue with yesterday. It's a bit bland. I think noodles are like made by machines instead of handmade. So much better with spicy sauce. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. I didn't realize how close I was staying to the actual historical site of the capital of Shang Dynasty. It's this park, and I was taking a taxi past this park last night when I was going to have dinner. I could have taken a walk. I'm glad I'm going back to Beijing because I've been away for 3 weeks. I really miss my home. So let's go home.
In my honest opinion, Zhengzhou is a pretty laid-back city.
However, within the city itself, there isn't too much to see beyond the museums. Even the other tourist spots I visited were not that impressive. I know there are other attractions near Zhengzhou, such as the Shaolin Temple and the Longmen Grottos, but I didn't have enough time this visit, so I may return in the future.
Bye bye, Zhengzhou.
Okay, that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again very soon.